Life is precious, and we all have the opportunity of living it to the fullest. Unfortunately, so few of us know how to manage it all. How do we account for our opportunities? How do we account for our time? How do we account for our relationships, health, spirituality, homes, finances, influence, and careers? How do we account for the one life we have to live? I am so glad you asked. In this program, you will find answers to all of these questions and more. Welcome to the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore.
What's happening, everybody? Look, today on the podcast, we're going to talk about something that I believe that many of us overlook. And so what we're talking about is actually knowing where you're going, right? You're knowing where you're going, whether you like it or not, this is where you're going. We're going to look at the Word of God. The Word of God is going to tell us exactly where we're going. But here's the thing. You want transformation. Transformation is what this podcast is about. And today I'm going to share with you how you can pretty much avoid worrying about where you're going and focus on where you are. So guys, look, welcome back to today's episode. What an exciting, incredible day. I'm just so happy to be back. You just don't know, man. I was off for almost 2 months. I was off for almost 2 months and I don't know what I was doing with my time until one day the Lord said to me, get back on there, man, get back on there, son, and continue to become who I've created you to be. And so today, look, just so you know, this podcast is all about transformation, right? This podcast is built on the transformation process. And today I'm just going to share with you part of the transformation process. The whole process will be in the upcoming book that you're going to love and that you'll be able to read. You'll be able to take a class, a course, if you will, for free. The book won't be free, but you'll be able to take the class for free. And that's my gift to you for being a part of this podcast. So you're going here whether you like it or not. And I'm going to share with you a story that pretty much helped me to understand what it is that I'm talking about. Now, before I tell you the story, I'm going to just share with you the Word of God, because the Word of God is what this is all built on. And in Genesis chapter 2 and verse 16 and 17, God starts with one of the first commands that he's given Adam, right? Like he had already told Adam, he'd already told him what he could do. You know, he'd already told him that, you know, that he's been created. Well, he said he's been created in his image. But then he says, Adam, you got all the trees in the garden. Do not eat of this particular one, or else you will die. I'm just paraphrasing. I didn't read it, but it's in Genesis chapter 2, 16 and 17. So he's telling Adam where he's going if Adam does something. Now, here's the thing. Like, why would Adam willfully, knowingly do something that's going to take his life? Now, here's the thing. Did Adam understand what death was at the time? He may not have fully understood it. And based on how the Bible is written, I'm sure God didn't say it this way. God probably said it a totally different way. Because the thing about this death that Adam experienced, he didn't experience a physical death. He experienced he didn't experience a physical, he experienced a spiritual death. What do you think about this? Adam died spiritually the day that he and his wife ate of that fruit, ate of that tree. They died spiritually. What does that mean? That means the connection that they had to God. See, they knew God and God knew them. And every day they would have conversations. Every day God would show up and they would know God and they would be able to talk to God. Look, it says after they actually ate of the tree, after Adam ate of it, then they realized they were naked. Now, that nakedness is probably not in the context that really makes us understand what happened, right? But it's written in the context so that we could understand it. And so from that perspective, then we just see that, hey, they didn't actually have any clothes on. They didn't need clothes. They didn't need clothes for any reason. They didn't need money for any reason. They didn't need anything because they had everything. See, the spiritual connection that we have to God is the everything connection. Without that connection, we live a life of turmoil. We live a life of striving. We live a life of turmoil. Or I said turmoil already. But we live a life that we're constantly going, in a circle over and over and over and over, and we're wishing and we're hoping and we're wanting and we're just trying to get to the next level when back before they did the thing that they did, they didn't have to think about any of those things. So I want you to think about where this text is taking us. So we're going somewhere. Where are we going? Physically, we're all going to the grave. We're all going there. My brother passed away in 2013. Like when death comes to your family, to your life, it's not something you want. Like that's not something that I'm like, yay. But I can say, yay. Not that my brother died, not that my brother is no longer here, but yay, that somehow that spiritual connection that I had lost came back. It rekindled itself because someone's life was lost. See, in this world of becoming the person that you were created to be, that's why the Account for Your Life podcast is here to help you to account for your life. Like, what are the things that you should be thinking about doing and focusing on? So today, if you were focusing on something, you would focus in on that spiritual connection, because look, at the end of the day, you're going to pass away at some point, right? Family members are going to pass away. Are you going to be distraught because you lost a family member? Are you going to, be at wit's end because oh my goodness, someone died and my life is over? Look, I get it, right? Because we're all going to be on the front row at some point, and I remember sitting on that front row at my brother's funeral, and it was surreal, right? Because I'm just like, he's in that box. He's literally gone. I hadn't talked to my bro in 2 months. Like, the last time I saw him was at a funeral. Come on. Think about this. I saw my brother that year at a funeral for my aunt. That might have been July. Can't even quite, I had to go back to the dates, but it was June, July. It was hot. We're at the funeral. I see my brother there. And, he was being a little, kind of standoffish. And, for whatever reason, I didn't pay any attention to it then. However, it wasn't until later on me and my other brother Reggie was talking about it, and we could sense that, like, there was something going on with him. Not that he knew he was going to die, because he didn't know that. But all I know is I did not talk to him from the funeral that I was at until seeing him in the box at his funeral. Don't you think a person could have really lost it? Like you could have, put yourself down. Oh my goodness, I wish I would have done more. I wish I would have been talking to my bro. I wish I would have been, really staying in contact. I wish I'd have been doing this and doing this and doing this and doing this. Maybe something would have changed if I would have done something. No, nothing would have changed. Nothing would have changed. Why? Because the purposes of God is what lasts, is what stands. Purposes. God's purpose. Men, we think that it's about our plan, but it's about the purposes of God. And God's purpose is what stands. And so God's purpose was, hey man, he had to die. That was God's purpose. I didn't want him to go, but he had to die so that somebody's life would come out of the ground. My life came out of the ground in that experience. There would have been no healthy accountant had he not died. There wouldn't have been no account for your life had he not died. There wouldn't have been, this person that's constantly looking to grow himself had he not died. I don't know who I would have been, because I wouldn't have that experience as something that I can use positively in my life, I wouldn't have it. So even though it's a negative experience, it's a positive experience. Now, just before we close, I just want to share something with you about death. Here's what I'm going to share with you about death. Imagine this. Imagine if when you died, you actually lived the life of your dreams. What if that was true? See, because remember, we lost the spiritual connection to God when Adam and Eve sinned. When they did whatever they did, we lost the spiritual connection. That means that the bodies that we live in are merely houses. Come on, a house can burn down, guys. This house that I'm living in can burn down. Your house can burn down. The building that you may be in your business could burn down. So if these things can burn down to the ground, your spirit cannot burn down to the ground. Your spirit is everlasting. So today, here's what you're going to take away. Look, you're going to die whether you like it or not. But here's the thing. What's the sense of dying and not have fulfilling the purpose of your life? So most people would ask, well, Jay, how do I start? How do I transform? Where do I begin? I gave you questions. I gave you some questions yesterday, but here's the thing. Don't worry about those questions right now. I'm going to walk you through over the next couple of weeks all of the steps that you got to take if you want to transform your life to infinity and become the person that you've been created to be, so you can do the things that you were created to do and have all the things you were created to have. If that's a plan, I want you to make sure you show up here every single day, especially this month, because we're going to get through all of it this month so that you can move forward. And then after that, the book will go on sale, the course will be available, and you can transform your life to infinity with the foundation of what the Account for Life podcast is all about, which is transformation. So guys, I appreciate you for joining me for this episode of the Account for Life podcast. Jay Money, Healthy Accountant, helping you to account for your life. God bless. I'll see you on the next episode. Peace.
Thanks for joining us, listening friends. We are so glad you invested this time with us. Always remember, you only have one life to live, so live it to the fullest. This has been the Account for Your Life podcast with your host, the healthy accountant himself, Jay Moore. Until next time, make it a great day.